Understanding drug mechanisms, how drugs interact with the nervous system. Title: Understanding drug mechanisms, how drugs interact with the nervous system. Introduction. The human body is a complex network of systems, and the nervous system plays a crucial role in our overall well-being. While the nervous system is responsible for transmitting signals to coordinate bodily functions, it is also susceptible to external factors, including the presence of drugs. Understanding how drugs interact with the nervous system is essential for medical professionals and researchers alike. This article aims to shed light on the mechanisms by which drugs affect our neural pathways. Overview of the nervous system. Before delving into drug mechanisms, it is important to comprehend the fundamentals of the nervous system. The nervous system comprises the central nervous system, CNS, and the peripheral nervous system, PNS. The CNS includes the brain and spinal cord, while the PNS encompasses the nerves that extend throughout the body. Neurotransmitters, key players in drug interactions. To understand how drugs influence the nervous system, we must first explore the role of neurotransmitters. Neurotransmitters are chemical messengers within the nervous system that help send signals between nerve cells, or neurons. These signals regulate various bodily functions, including movement, mood, and cognition. Different drugs interact with the nervous system by affecting the production, release, or reuptake of neurotransmitters. For instance, stimulant drugs such as amphetamines increase the release of neurotransmitters like dopamine, which leads to heightened arousal and alertness. On the other hand, depressant drugs such as benzodiazepines enhance the activity of gamma-aminobutyric acid, GABA, a neurotransmitter that promotes relaxation and reduces anxiety. Drug receptors. In order to exert their effects, drugs must bind to specific receptors in the nervous system. These receptors are often proteins located on the surface of neurons or within them. Drug receptor interactions can either mimic the actions of neurotransmitters or block their effects. Agonist drugs bind to receptors and activate them, producing a response similar to that of the neurotransmitter. For example, opioid drugs like morphine bind to opioid receptors, relieving pain and reducing a sense of euphoria. Conversely, antagonist drugs bind to receptors without activating them, effectively blocking the neurotransmitter's action. Antipsychotic drugs, like haloperidol, work by blocking dopamine receptors in the brain, reducing the symptoms of psychosis. Drug effects on neural communication. Drugs can modify neural communication through various mechanisms. One common mechanism involves altering synaptic transmission, the process by which signals are transmitted between neurons across gaps called synapses. Some drugs enhance neurotransmitter release by increasing their synthesis or inhibiting their breakdown. Moreover, drugs can modify the sensitivity or responsiveness of receptors to neurotransmitters. For instance, benzodiazepines enhance the affinity of GABA receptors for GABA, leading to enhanced inhibitory effects. Neuroadaptation and tolerance. Prolonged drug use can result in neuroadaptation, a process where the nervous system adjusts its functioning to compensate for the presence of drugs. Initially, the effects of a drug may be profound. But over time, the nervous system adapts to minimize the drug's impact. This phenomenon is known as tolerance. Tolerance can occur at different levels within the nervous system. For example, cellular tolerance may involve changes in receptor expression or function, reducing the drug's effectiveness. Behavior. L tolerance refers to an individual's ability to withstand the drug's effects without visible impairment. Psychological and physical dependence. Repeated drug use can also lead to psychological and physical dependence. Psychological dependence manifests as cravings and a compulsive desire to use the drug, often driven by the drug's ability to activate reward pathways in the brain. Physical dependence occurs when the body becomes reliant on the drug to function normally, and withdrawal symptoms arise when drug use is reduced or stopped. Roughly. Dopamine agonists and antagonists. Another class of drugs that interact with the nervous system are dopamine agonists and antagonists. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter involved in various functions, including movement, motivation, and word. Dopamine agonists stimulate dopamine receptors and mimic the effects of dopamine, while dopamine antagonists block the action of dopamine. Parkinson's disease, for example, is a neurological disorder characterized by the degeneration of dopamine-producing neurons. Dopamine agonists such as levodopa are prescribed to compensate for the loss of dopamine and alleviate symptoms. On the other hand, antipsychotic drugs, which are dopamine antagonists, are used to treat conditions like schizophrenia by reducing the activity of dopamine in certain brain regions. Receptor sensitization and desensitization. In addition to modulating receptor activity, some drugs can induce changes in receptor sensitivity or desensitization. Receptor sensitization refers to an increase in receptor responsiveness to neurotransmitters, while receptor desensitization involves reduced responsiveness. Repeated exposure to certain drugs can lead to receptor adaptations. For example, chronic opiate use can result in opioid receptor desensitization, requiring higher doses of the drug to achieve the SMA level of pain relief. This phenomenon contributes to the development of opioid tolerance and the potential for dependence. Neuroplasticity and drug effects. The nervous system exhibits a remarkable ability to adapt and reorganize its structure and function in response to external stimuli or experiences. This neuroplasticity plays a significant role in the effects of drugs on the nervous system. Drug-induced neuroplasticity can lead to long-lasting changes in the brain structure and function. For instance, chronic alcohol use can result in structural changes in the brain, including shrinking of certain brain regions and disruptions in neural connections. This may contribute to cognitive impairments associated with alcoholism. Importance of studying drug mechanisms. Understanding the intricate mechanisms by which drugs interact with the nervous system is crucial for several reasons. Firstly, it allows medical professionals to develop effective treatments for various conditions by targeting specific neurotransmitter systems or receptors. For example, selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, SRIs, are widely used to treat depression by increasing serotonin levels. Secondly, studying drug mechanisms helps researchers identify potential drug interactions and avoid adverse effects. Some drugs can interact with each other or with certain pre-existing conditions, leading to unwanted consequences or reduced efficacy. By understanding how drugs interact with the nervous system, medical professionals can make informed decisions and avoid potential drug interactions. Lastly, understanding drug mechanisms aids in the development of strategies to minimize drug abuse and dependence. By comprehending how drugs affect neural pathways, researchers can identify targets.